Hello and welcome to another video. So in this video we're actually going to be having a look at a pond build that I did back in 2019, and it's a really nice pond, but I didn't think I did much videoing on it. This is actually what the pond used to look like before I did any updates on it, and this video is probably the only video I have that actually showed it, where I rescued a frog. So basically what we're going to do is have a look at how I made this wildlife pond into a koi pond. So here we are then on day one of a new pond build project. So we've already made quite a decent little start here. We've actually took all the sides off of the original pond. This was a lily pond actually. There was sort of like a little bog area there for reeds to grow in, and lilies all sort of grew in this area. It didn't really have any filtration system or anything like that on it, it just had a little fountain pump in the middle. Quite a nice little lily pond, but what we're going to do is probably dig it deeper, because it's not really that deep at the minute. Probably put a couple of bottom drains in, have a really nice little filter system there, and have it a proper koi pond. And we're also going to put a roof over it, so there's going to be a shelter over it. There's a little shed just here, and we're going to bring the roof out like that and join them both together, so that it's pretty much indoors, sheltered, and hopefully it should keep warm and be a nice and quite big grow on pond for koi. But yeah, we made a pretty decent start. Had a liner in it which I've took over there, and it's quite a good shell of a pond actually, a good base to start from, start building. We're also going to bring it up to about 1 metre high, so it'll be fairly, I think it'll end up being about 4 or 5 foot deep when it's done, and not sure how much water that's going to end up being. I should work that out today, and then I can work out what sort of filter's going to go here and stuff like that. But yeah, this is the first day. We made a start on it. So here we are with the pond, bit of a jump. There's obviously a roof over it, and the pond itself has actually been concreted in the bottom. So we've got all the concrete down. It's been down a couple of days now, and it's what we did with this concrete floor is we mixed it by hand. So we've put the slope in the concrete itself rather than putting a render on top, so it just slopes straight into the bottom drains. And we mixed about 4.5–5 tons of concrete. Put that all down, got it down in a day. It's a job, but just carry on with it and it gets done. And then the drains now come out here, so the filter's going to be just here. So you got your left and your right bottom drain, and then your left and your right air line for your drains. And the filter will be just sat here nicely. Probably concrete that in at some point and bring the pipes up. But for now we're going to be putting the breeze blocks around the edge, build the sides up to about waist height, so the pond will end up about 5 foot deep. So there you go. So as it actually seems to be with this pond, I haven't been filming the build very much, so we've got another big jump. The walls are up, the pond is ready for fiberglassing, and so the building's pretty much done on the outside. Needs insulating in these gaps here and a skin print on the inside. Yeah, the pond is ready for fiberglassing. We'll have a look at that in a second. And yeah, so we've got a door on this end as well, so you can come out here and you'll be able to go around here to where the filters are. So this will be the filter. This is a little drum filter right here, and I'll show you that later on again. And so we've got the 2 bottom drains coming into it and the skimmer coming into it right there, and then the outlet for the pump just there. So it's a pretty nice little setup. We've got the drains coming out of the concrete now there. Need to figure out where they're going to go to discharge the water. Air lines are there, sat nicely. And basically what I need to do is put a little lid on this, and then wall it all off with the same wood I've done the sides of the building in, and it should be spot on. This is the lid that I'm going to put on top of there, so that's going to go on top of there shortly. and it's green for the same colour as that bit there. So there we go, that's a little bit of a look round of the pond construction so far. So here we are actually inside the pond with the king span all in place. So I've just gone round the skimmer and chamfered it out for the skimmer to fit in nicely, neatly. And obviously the edges are filled in with a little piece, look like that, so you cut a triangle and fit the edges in so that the edges go nice and smoothly round. And then what I've done with these is I've recessed them in a bit, so I can pull it out. There's a little recess for that to fit in, so when it goes up tightly it is flush all the way around, quite neat like this one is, pretty flush. So I've done the triangles in each corner, like so. So the king span comes down to this point here, and then we've just got render and then the concrete base into the bottom drains. And as you can see, if I look across it like that, you can see that there's, you might be able to see that there's quite a slope into the drains. So it's a pretty decent slope on this pond. For that way there, look, you can see it a bit better perhaps. There's a pretty decent slope on this pond just to get all your muck going into drains. And yeah, it's pretty decent. So why didn't I take the king span all the way to the bottom? Because that's sort of not how this pond was constructed. It could have, if it had been a smooth wall all the way to the top, I probably would have took it to the bottom, but it weren't a smooth wall. It weren't a smooth wall all the way to the top. This bit were part of the old pond, so it needed to be rendered really, rather than having king span on it to get it smooth. And I don't particularly want to put king span on the floor, because if you drop something in the pond, say a brick, then it'll puncture the fiberglass quite easily, because what it'll do is the fiberglass will be coated on that and then basically smash through it and puncturing the fiberglass. Whereas if the fiberglass is just straight on the concrete floor, you're less likely to get a puncture as easily that way. So I don't tend to put king span on the floor. But also it's quite an easy, cheap way to put a good wall on it. It saves rendering. It could be quite a lot of effort to render all this pond really, whereas to just chuck this king span on takes, you know, hardly any effort really. It's just cutting it with a saw and getting it to size and shape. A little bit more difficult with this pond, we're having to sort of shape it to this part, but apart from that it's quite easy. So it's entirely ready for fiberglassing now. I'm going to glue those in with a bit of silicone so that they're stuck in permanently, and then they'll be fiberglassed over and cut out. And that's it. This will be fiberglassed around here, like so. And it should be quite smooth and quite a nice ledge. I'll go on to that. So there we go. That's the inside of the pond all ready for fiberglassing. So there's been another big jump in the progress of the build, so let's go and have a look around. Got some lights in, as you can see. Lights of the pond. The pond's been fiberglassed. Nice and green, a bit mucky because we've been putting tiles around the side. But it just needs a clean. The drains need to have the caps put on. We've got the mount there for where the shower's going, and then a plastic bit so that if any splashes or out come out, it doesn't affect anything. Because I figured if we had this wood behind the shower, it might end up going black or something like that, so we put that plastic there. There's a pipe over here because that's going to be a little water feature falling in. I guess you'll see that later. And skimmer's sort of setting its little area now. So here we are installing the backy shower. So we've put the bottom tray on these things to lift it above the water level. So the water line is going to be here. And then hopefully there's enough room so the fish, if they jump out or come out to it, they don't hit the stems on it. And then we've got, so we've glued it to this plastic section, so if any water splashes out or goes onto it, it ends up going back in eventually. So there's no water going sort of behind the pond and cavity or out like that. And then we've got the first tier on, so we've just got to fill that up with media. And we've got bags of media here. There's 5 bags of 25 kilos, quite a lot of weight in media to go in these for 4 tiers. So yeah, let's crack on with putting that in. So that's the shower in place, looks quite well. The top section was a bit of a pain getting on because there's not enough room to sort of pour the media in at the top. We had to fill it on the floor and then carry it up there. So that were interesting, but got it up alright, it's pretty good. So there's quite a lot of media in it. This is the media we've used. Got a little bit left over. Oops, chucking it about. There we go, that's the media we used. Quite dusty as you can see on the floor. So I would recommend cleaning this stuff before you put it in. But what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to run the system before the pond's full, and then pull all the muck out. So I'm going to fill the filtration system up and then put the pump on and run it until the filter's empty, and then all the muck should hopefully have come out and all the leaks have been spotted. So yeah, nice little shower, quite pleased with it, looks good there. And just need to put a pipe on there and bring it down, and then into that little hole there. Because the filter, you can just see the top of it right there. So there's the connection up there, I think you can see it, to the backy shower. It comes from its Class E pressure pipe, 2-inch, and then I've got to bring the pipe down here, behind these bricks, underneath, and then to this ball valve right here. And the issue I've got is that there's probably about 40 quid worth of joints if I'm going to do it in these rubber joints to do that. So that's quite, it seems a bit expensively pointless. So what I'm going to do instead, which is something I've got quite into, and it works really well for when I've got a tight space like this and need to do a lot of joints. So I'm going to use this flexible hose pipe, and it's a high pressure flexible hose, but it also has another advantage, that it's actually weldable. So this is the 2-inch version, and it works exactly the same with 1.5 inch. That's one I've done earlier, so that's 1.5 inch into 2-inch ball valve, and I've obviously put a 1.5 inch to 2-inch connector in that. But let me show you how you actually do this. So rather than putting hose tails on this stuff, you can just solvent weld it like you would do a normal pipe. So this is the thing that converts normal 2-inch waste pipe into Class E high pressure fitting to fit into them fittings, and then what you do is that welds onto there, and I'll show you that shortly, and then I'll just weld that into there, and it's quite handy, especially for like doing them rubber boots. So the rubber boot can clamp straight onto this, but if you over tighten the rubber boot, it does sort of crimp it, and then the water gets past the crimp, so you can't tighten it up too much. So what you do is you solvent weld one of them on it, and then into the rubber boot, and then it won't leak or go wrong or anything. And it's a really good way of doing it. So I'll show you that in a second. So here we go, welding this. So it's just like doing any other solvent weld joint. You want to get a quick clean first. This is a bit mucky, so I'll just do a quick clean round. Make sure nice and clean. What you want to do as well is make sure there's no spares on it, because them spares can sort of get caught up and they make it difficult to put on properly. And then get this quick clean. So, there we go, that's them clean nicely. So if I fit that on there, tight fit, it does go on, and then what I'll do, put that on there, balance it. There we go. First thing to do is just put a bit of the solvent weld on here. Oops, like that. Put that down, and then put a bit on here, like so, and then fit the two ends together. Oops. There we go. Right, don't have there we go. It doesn't have to melt the plastic, which I've always found quite interesting. So the not quite straight. There we go. Perfect. That. I always find it quite weird how it melts the plastic. It. I mean, look at that. It blackened my hands because I got a bit on my hand, and it's really awful stuff. This glue. So there you go. That's the finished end, neatly on, and now that can go into that rubber boot up there, and the rubber boot could tighten as much as it wants, and it won't leak. So there we go. Got that installed, so it comes down there, under there, into ball valve. Cracking. What I'm going to do now is fill this filter up with water and get a try, see what happens. So I filled this filter right up to the top and there's not been any leaks, apart from a bit of water that's just gone over there and leaked onto that bit, you can hear. And now what I'm going to do is turn the system on and watch it all come over the shower. That got rid of all the white muck out of the to the media. So here we are on the last day of this pond build. We've actually finished it. It took quite a while to do, but obviously it's quite a setup, as you'll see in a minute. So this is the actual building that we've put up. This section here is the bird cage, so all the birds are in there, and that's why there's like a polycarbonate sheet over it. Them are designed to come out in summer so that the birds can get air and daylight. So let's have a look inside. So inside you got your pond. It is a decent sized pond. I think it's 4,000 gallons, just short. So it's good size, not too bad for the quarantine tank. We've got the shower running well, little weir going in as well, and then just in this corner just here there's a return underwater that pushes the water around the pond itself. And yeah, it's been running for a bit now. It's been running a month or so. And the fish is in it, as you can see over there, and they're doing quite well. So yeah, that's the pond. Not much to say about it really, I don't know said on video. And then we've got the birds just here. This section got the birds in it, as you can hear them tweeting. Probably been able to hear them through this entire video. It's difficult to focus on them. So that's the section for the birds. As I said, these polycarbonates come out and you can see there's a mesh at that side, hold them in, and they've got a little polycarbonate roof on that section as well to let in more light. So yeah, everything's going well. We've got a dehumidifier here that heats the building, keeps it warm, and obviously dehumidifies it. I actually find that we're building like this because we've really well insulated it. A dehumidifier is the best way to go. If you haven't got very good insulation, heating is the way to go, because the heat will just keep the humidity down and it's a bit easier. But with when you've got no insulation, I find a dehumidifier idling just keeps the humidity down and keeps the temperature up a little bit. So this pond stayed, I think, about 8 to 10 degrees through winter, which is really good. So it's not heated at all. And, whereas if it were outside, it'd have been probably like 3 or 4 degrees. So it's done pretty well. And then you go through this door here. And yeah, and then round the back here is where your filtration system is. So underneath this decking here there's a big hole where all the wastewater goes from the purge valve. So the drum filter's outlet, as you see, the drum filter just there. The outlet of this goes down the waste, but the actual outlet of the filters, the outlet from the bottom drains, when you purge them, doesn't. It goes into a hole. It's a nice little drum filter, this. It's been a little bit of a pain, but I think we've just been a little bit unlucky with it, to be honest. And then you got your air pump, got some wood in here that I need to take out. Underneath that wood there is your water tank. So that tank actually, show you. And then this is what levels the pond out. Take this lid off here. Like so. See the ball valve, and because I've just purged the bottom drains, it's filling up. That just keeps the pond's water level good. And that's about it. You've got your air line that comes to your two bottom drains here. You've got your two bottom drains, 1, 2, going into the drum filter, and then that one's your skimmer. Pretty nice little setup. Shut this lid. That piece of wood. And then, so to purge the bottom drains, it's underneath here, so I push this decking forward like that, get my hand under, pull it back, and there we go. You can see there's two purge valves. So I weren't going to purge it on camera because that'll only add to trouble, but let's have a go. No, I can't do it one-handed. No, I'm not going to try. I can't do it one-handed. So, actually, this is the first time I've ever used 4-inch valves to purge a pond, and I really like it. It really purges it really well. I wish I'd have done this sort of on all the ponds, and anything I build in future will have a 4-inch purge valve on it if it's 4-inch pipe. Usually I'd do a 2-inch one, because the pressure's quite high, so it would come out quite fast in 2-inch, but when you do these, the maximum water comes out that is possible, and it literally just brings everything out of the system in seconds. And I mean, this tank holds about 1,000 litres of water, and it can fill it in about 5 seconds. It's just full, and as you can see, it's full. It's just here now, so it's a soak away, that, so it'll soak away over the next few hours, because I've just purged them a minute ago. So what you do is I'm just going to lift them up, because these ones are locking ones, and then just turn them on like so. As you can see, the water absolutely flies out of there, and then wait till it fills up. 1, 2. Cracked it. That's purged probably about 600-700 litres of water, something like that. It's a fairly big tank, this, and you know for a fact that anything in the system, the entire system, has made its way completely out then. I really like that. I wish I'd have put 4-inch purge valves on my main pond. Not that it's entirely necessary on my main pond, but these are great. I'm quite pleased with them. And then slide that back over, put it back into place, cracked it. You'd never even know they were there. There you go, that's purging the valves. So there we go, another look at the filter and the front of the building, and that's all there is really. That's it. Really nice pond and nice setup, and been quite a pleasure to build it, to be honest. So there we go. If you like this video, then please like it. If you want to see more videos like this, then please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, then please put them down below, and I shall see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.